You know that moment when a buddy of yours is eyeballing a new thermal rifle scope, scrolling through endless listings, and you can see the doubt building dash. What if I spend a couple $100 and it ends up being more hype than help? I've been in that spot more than once, watching friends wrestle with the idea of adding a thermal optic to their setup, especially when the price tag feels like a gamble. If you're sitting there wondering whether the ATN Thor LT320 is worth that gamble, keep listening. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the thing that sets the Thor LT apart is its lightweight footprint. At roughly 1.4 pounds, it's light enough that you can mount it on a standard hunting rifle or a tactical AR without throwing your balance off. In the field, that matters when you're moving through brush or making quick transitions between cover. A heavy scope can pull the barrel down, mess with your cheek weld, and make follow-up shots feel sluggish. With the Thor LT, you won't notice a shift in handling, which is a subtle but real advantage if you spend a lot of time on foot. The thermal sensor runs at 60 Hz, which translates to smoother motion rendering compared to older 30 Hz units. In practice, that means moving animals or a fleeing target don't look jittery or broken up. I've seen hunters on a dusk hunt where the heat signature of a deer stays steady, letting them track the animal's stride without the screen flickering every few frames. For a tactical shooter, that fluid motion can make the difference between a clean shot and a missed opportunity when the target is moving quickly across a field. One of the features that actually saved me a couple of trips to the range was the one-shot zero system. Traditional thermal scopes often require a full-range zeroing process, which can be time-consuming, especially when you're trying to calibrate at a distance you don't normally shoot. With one-shot zero, you line up a target at a known range, fire a single round, and the scope adjusts itself. It's not a magic bullet, but it cuts down the zeroing ritual dramatically. If you're the sort of person who wants to get on the range, fire a couple of shots, and head out the door, that workflow is a real time saver. Now, let's talk about the display options, white hot and black hot. The choice here is personal, but the practical side is that each mode can help you blend better with different environments. On a cold morning when the background is a frosty white, black hot makes the animal's heat stand out as a darker silhouette, which can be easier on the eyes. Conversely, white hot shines brighter against darker backdrops like dense forest or nighttime scenarios. The ability to toggle on the fly means you can adapt without swapping devices, and that flexibility is something I've appreciated on mixed terrain hunts. So who should actually consider picking up the Thor LT? If you're a hunter who regularly hunts at dawn, dusk, or in heavy cover where visual contrast is low, a thermal scope becomes more of a necessity than a luxury. The compact size and lightweight nature make it a good fit for a lightweight rifle build or for those who want to keep their rig agile. It also appeals to tactical shooters who need a portable thermal solution that won't add bulk to a primary weapon. The price point sits in a sweet spot where you get a reputable brand and solid performance without stepping into the 5-digit territory of higher-end models. On the flip side, if your hunting style is mostly open field daylight where a good pair of binoculars and a traditional optic get you where you need to be, the Thor LT might be overkill. The thermal sensor is optimized for detecting heat signatures, but it won't give you the same level of detail on distant foliage or terrain features that a high-magnification visual scope offers. Also, if you're a beginner who's never used a thermal sight before, the learning curve, especially figuring out the best reticle settings and understanding how heat signatures behave in varying weather, can be a bit steep. For those folks, a more entry-level thermal option or even a night vision device could be a gentler introduction. A practical weakness that shows up once you start using the scope regularly is the field of view. While the Thor LT advertises a wide view, the actual numbers sit at a modest 15 degrees at 3 magnification. In dense brush, that can feel restrictive when you're trying to scan a large area quickly. You'll need to sweep more often, which can be tiring on a long hunt. It's not a deal breaker, but it's something to be aware of if you rely heavily on rapid situational awareness. Battery life is another consideration. The Thor LT runs on a standard rechargeable lithium-ion pack that provides roughly 4 to 5 hours of continuous use at 60 Hz. For a day-long hunt, You'll probably be fine, especially if you're only pulling the scope up intermittently. However,